What's up? It's Alex Heartman, Jayden, the Red Samurai Power Ranger, and you are watching Toy Bounty Hunters Web TV.
Good evening, everyone. This is Manny from TBH, Toy Bounty Hunters Web TV, playing the copy game here with Mr. Alex Heartman, who decided to go ahead and dedicate some of his time to us. And, so you guys get to know him, have a couple questions for him.
Sorry if I was distracting you.
Not at all. I kind of,
your
hands kind of caught me.
I'm like doing.
I go, I want to keep him in sync. Let me go really slow.
Oh, I appreciate that. Sorry, I was late on that one.
You're good. So basically, tomorrow is Ranger Stop. Super stoked, super excited.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that?
It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think. It's first time in Florida, first time at Ranger Stop. Nice. Really excited to meet some of the fans on the East Coast.
Good. So we're doing this because primarily, there may be the possibility that certain people don't really know a lot about you outside of your Red Ranger role of amazingness. It might happen. Who knows? So, as a crash course, just for everybody who's going to meet you tomorrow, we have a couple questions.
All right, shoot away.
Alex Heartman.
It's a name. That is my name.
That is your name.
My name.
Who is Alex Heartman? Who was he before Jayden, Red Samurai Ranger?
I don't think you want to know that answer.
I do.
No? You do?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. Alex Heartman, he's from Sacramento, California, NorCal. Came down to LA straight out of high school, tried to do the whole acting thing, landed Rangers about 2.5 years afterward. I was actually about to call it quits, too, if you can believe it. Yeah, my mom actually talked me into continuing with acting, because it was 2.5 years. It's rough, man. LA is tough. And I had a talk with her, and she's like, no, stick it out. And then next month was the Power Ranger audition, and of course, that's what I book.
So how was it when you went to the audition? How did that?
It was a process. It was a long process. It was about a month of auditioning. We were there for, 6 hours sometimes. There was just a mess of actors in this small little office. We were just sitting on the hallway. We didn't really know what was going on. It was tough. Funny story though, my old car was actually a red Ford Ranger. So on my way to the Power Rangers auditions, I was driving in a Red Ranger. And I didn't put two and two together until I actually got the job. And my mom talked to me, she was like, you realize you were driving a Red Ranger to your Red Ranger auditions? And it was like, light bulb, how did I not catch that? Hilarious. So, yeah.
But he still wasn't up.
My interview.
Oh, yes, Najee is here as well.
You know I love you, but it's my interview. Get out.
So basically, technically speaking, you could have basically transformed and just jumped in your truck.
I could have done exactly that. Had I known, again.
So, going back on that, going to the whole acting experience, what was it like growing up? Were there any patterns? Was there anything foreseen that acting might have been in your future, or was it just...
Yeah, there was. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
My mom loves this story. Keep talking about my mom. But no, my older sister was doing, she was part of a, dance ballerina crew or whatever, and they were doing some performance recital, and I was maybe 3, maybe 4 years old, and still have my pacifier in my mouth, and I jump up and I think I'm all cool, and I get up on stage and I start dancing with all the girls in their tutus. We have a video of it too. It's somewhere.
It's not on YouTube.
Not on YouTube, no. No, thankfully. Thank the Lord, it's not on YouTube.
So, at what point does I always ask this of all the Rangers, At what point does martial arts get involved in your life? Or did you learn martial arts?
It was from the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh yeah. And it was because of Power Rangers. As soon as I watched Mighty Morphin as a kid, I was, grabbing sticks, playing, fighting the bushes and all that kind of stuff. And so I got into karate because of that at a very young age, in kindergarten, I think. And kind of never looked back since. So I've been doing martial arts longer than I've been acting.
Wow, that's amazing. And how has martial arts, pretty much ingrained itself in your life? How big a part of it is? Obviously Power Rangers and all that, but
right.
How much does it really integrate into your life?
It's everywhere. It's kind of it's just kind of how you hold yourself. It's a self-confidence thing, and I've never actually really even used it in the real world.
That's interesting.
And I hope that I never do.
That's true.
Because it, you inflict a lot of damage, and
you do.
And knowing that you're doing it, it's a tough thing, and so it's a toss-up. Like, I could not live without martial arts. It's something that it's a passion of mine beyond anything else. But I never want to use it in the real world. It's like a weird sort of catch-22 thing. Like, you learn how to be a badass, but you also don't necessarily want to be a badass, because then you're going to harm a lot of people.
That's
so
true.
It's like the toss-up of where you align yourself.
I would say you adopt the philosophy basically that underlies it all.
Right.
Learn how to pretty much destroy.
Right.
But never need to use it.
Exactly.
Never.
Exactly.
Always. No. Don't want to do
with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh. Wink. Spider-Man relaunch?
Yep.
Go
Spider-Man.
All right, let's do that. So, just moving forward on that one, who aside from Power Rangers, you already mentioned Power Rangers as an inspiration,
right,
which is pretty cool. I mean, you're pretty much next generation coming forward on this. What other influences in media from martial arts, kind of inspired you? Were there any, Bruce Lee's or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Lee is obviously, he's a god in the martial arts world. I was always, I always liked the Jackie Chan movies. I know there are a lot of them are really cheesy, but I always thought that he was a brilliant martial artist, and he was one of the first guys that I learned that he did his own stunts. So I always thought that was pretty cool. And then Tony Jaa actually is phenomenal. And the cool thing about him is he watched the old Bruce Lee movies, and he didn't even realize that there was like wire working or anything like that. Yeah. So he learned. That's why he learned how to do what he does.
Exactly.
Because he didn't know that there was Hollywood magic, quote unquote.
Exactly.
So he learned how to do it all himself, which I thought was really admirable.
And that's impressive, because maybe you could be like, oh well, he did silly Tony Jaa, and then you see him do all that stuff and go, never mind.
Yeah. Definitely not gonna call him silly to his face. That much is for sure.
No, not if I want to keep it.
Yeah.
So how when you now, I know you grew up watching Power Rangers and all that good and fun stuff. At what point did you learn about the Sentai series? When did you learn that it actually originated from Japan?
I knew that it had originated in Japan. I mean, somewhere between watching Mighty Morphin and booking the job. I don't remember when. But it was kind of interesting watching our version of the show from Japan, because they get away with a lot more conflict within the team. So there's a lot more inner conflict between red and green. And so when we first came onto the job, one of the original scripts, we had a lot of conflict between myself and Hector. And we got up to the day before we were shooting. It was like Sunday at 5 o'clock, and we were shooting that Monday. And they called us up and they're like, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put everything on hold. We're changing the scripts, and we'll let you know. And so we go back to training, like we don't know what's going on, and they completely dumbed down all of that conflict. So Hector and I had done all of this character work, and now they just like took it all away. They're just like, nope, see ya, not gonna happen.
Because they probably felt that it would be too volatile.
Yeah. It was too much for the American audience, which I agree with, because there was some really, really intense stuff that I don't think would have played for our audience, but still, it was kind of frustrating. You spend all this time, and then they're like, nah, never mind.
It is. I can see how it would be a letdown, but the cool thing is you got more training and you got more time in New Zealand.
Got more time in New Zealand. Yeah, it was like 3 extra weeks.
That's
originally we were only supposed to be there for like 6 months. We ended up staying for almost 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Life's experience.
It was pretty cool.
So I mean, when you get into that, I mean, you just express one of the lows. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that working with the crew, I gotta be honest with you. I know this is not necessarily all incorporated into the question, but you guys are really, really tight. You guys are really, really close.
Yeah.
What were, I mean, aside from the friends that you bonded with and friends that you made in the cast, what were some of the highs of being part of Samurai?
I mean, the list is kind of endless. It's like, where do you begin? One of the best highs was probably when we first put on the suits and we did like our first photo shoot together, because like that's when you start to hold yourself, start to stand a little bit straighter, and you have the helmet in your hand, and like you're just like, yeah, like this is it, I'm badass, yeah. That was definitely one of the highs. Obviously, hanging out with these guys, all the crew obviously they had worked on like Lord of the Rings, and they're working on The Hobbit now and like stuff like that. So getting to know all of those people was phenomenal, because now a lot of them have actually given me the opportunity, if I come back to New Zealand for any sort of film, they're like, oh yeah, we'll totally work for free. Like one of the boom operator, the boom mic operator, for those of you who don't know, it's the guy that holds the big stick with the microphone on the end of it.
That's never supposed to show up on camera.
That is never, ever supposed to show up. Right. And this guy is amazing, but he actually was the guy that recorded Sir Ian McKellen's famous line, "You shall not pass," on Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
He was the boom op on that.
That's cool.
And he told us, he was like, yeah, whatever film you have, like, I'll totally work for free, just make me a bad guy. Okay, sweet. Done and done.
Nice. But how will he play the bad guy and hold the boom mic? Or is he just that amazing?
He's that amazing.
Wow. Stunned. Well, so going back to the show, and I'll get into some stuff because there's some really cool stuff that I really appreciated about Power Ranger Samurai, like me personally. But how much of Alex Heartman mirrors Jayden?
It's actually quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah. Because I mean, Jayden, he's kind of the strong silent type. You know, he doesn't really talk too much. He's not, you know, he's just kind of like, he's a dedicated, driven guy, and like, if there's conflict, he will step in if he has to. But for the most part, he just like kind of plays it cool, and that's sort of my style. Like, I'm not really confrontational. Just kind of more of a mellow, laid-back sort of guy. But if something needs to happen, I will do it. But you know, I'll step up to the plate. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, aside from the fact that I don't really have a giant robot that I can drive around. I wish I did. Sitting in LA traffic, I wish I had a giant robot smashing cars.
Do you know how much you would pay in taxes at the end of the year for that thing?
I don't even care. Just the fact that I get to smash cars on the freeway in a giant robot.
What if somebody else responds with a giant monster?
I'm gonna fight him. Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
But but now going back on that though, Jayden was a very, very all work no play sort of guy.
Yeah. I'm not that. I have a good balance of work and play. I mean, let's be honest.
That's good. And then, so from there, you know, I gotta tell you that one of the big things in Power Rangers that really drew me back, because I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like missed a certain span of Power Rangers.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did.
Yeah, and then I caught back in and I'm catching this show and I'm going, wow, I really like the conflict between the Red Ranger and this Decker guy.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Good. I really like this. How did that develop between you and Ricardo Medina? How was the off screen? Did you guys have to practice that a lot? Was there a lot of
not really. I mean, because he's a good actor, and we actually, scheduling wise, we really didn't get much time to rehearse that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. We're working so much, and so it's like sometimes I was on set with all these guys doing like a big group scene, and then I would have to leave early and go run and like be with him. So I was like learning my lines in the car on the way over, and yeah. What was cool though is the big battle that we do at the end on horseback. We both got to train on and at the same time on horseback. So we were having days where we were driving 45 minutes out, and
wow.
That was cool because I didn't really know like what to expect going home, coming back to like the Ranger fandom.
Right.
So he kind of explained like what to expect, sort of like how the fans were, which was great. It was kind of like it calmed me and kind of set me up to know what I was stepping back into when I got back to the US.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
I mean, did you have an idea that this was going to blow up as big as it did?
Yeah. When we first got the job, they told us, they were like, we're bringing it back to what Mighty Morphin was way back when. So I knew it was going to be a worldwide thing.
So I mean, with you mentioning that, I mean, how does it feel to know that Power Ranger Samurai, it's a because I didn't know this. I wasn't knowledgeable of this. Power Ranger Samurai was the first show to be actually back under the Saban banner.
That's
after
right.
almost 10 years. 10 years.
Yep.
Sorry about that. 10 years. I mean, did you know that had taken place? Did you know that at one point?
Yeah. I knew that. We knew that going into it. We knew that Saban had bought it back from Disney, which was part of the reason I was so excited about it, because I knew that they were going to bring it back to what Mighty Morphin was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did that ever like kind of weigh on you? Were you ever like, wow, this is a lot to take in?
Kind of, yeah. I really because when we first got the job, we only had 2 weeks to drop everything and move to New Zealand. So right after I got the job, it was like I was in this frenzy of packing up my apartment, moving out, like putting everything in storage, like closing my bank accounts, like getting ready to move all the way around the world. And so it wasn't really until I was on the plane that it hit me. It's like, whoa, what am I stepping into, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So that's when I had my little mini panic attack, was on the plane. But then Yeah, I mean, you you never really realize like how big it's gonna be, and then I step into their office, and they like the Saban brand's office owns like 2 floors of this magnificent skyscraper in downtown Santa Monica, and it's like, yep, they own all of us. Yeah, they own the world, kind of thing.
Pretty much, cool. Pretty much. And then like, you know, you came back to the States. You already had a good idea that you were going to be, you know, received in a really big fashion. Yeah. How were those first public appearances when you came back stateside?
It was pretty intense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we got back, you know, we did the whole publicity training and stuff like that because we were under the Nickelodeon umbrella as well. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make sure that we knew what we were doing when we got in front of the camera in terms of interviews. And so it was right before the first Kids' Choice Awards, actually, that we went to, which was 2010, 2011, I think. It was 2011. And so, you know, we really didn't know what to expect in terms of publicity, and then we step into Kids' Choice Awards, which is just like hundreds and hundreds of cameras, lights everywhere, orange carpet, you know, like we're getting all fancied and like doing stuff like that. So it was kind of like, well, here you go, just like kicked you into the deep end sort of thing. And I mean, we've stayed afloat, which helped.
was that also for you? Because I remember in a prior interview, Hector said that you guys actually got to meet Haim there. Did you get to see Haim before that?
That was the second one that we went to. That was the second Kids' Choice Awards that we went to that we met Haim. Yeah, we actually, I didn't meet him. The first time that I met him was at a New York toy convention that we went to. He brought us out because they were, you know, doing the whole promoting 20 years or whatever. And like we were at this little small party, and like we had met his son, and he like taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around and there's Haim right there. And it's like you automatically know like he's a bajillionaire, and he just like shakes your hand and just like he has the firmest grip and is just like crushing your hand. You're just like, hi. It was kind of crazy though. He's an intimidating guy, but it was fun. Yeah.
So one last thing, and I because I'm always curious about these kinds of things, because you know there's so much going on, and there's so many appearances you guys do. You guys go here, you guys go there. What's one anecdote or maybe one story that you have from a convention or from a public appearance that kind of sticks out in your brain? You know, you fan interaction.
I mean, obviously there's hundreds to choose from. One that always sticks out to me though is there was this family, and they came up, and you know they had a son who was about 6 or 7, right in our age range, and he was such a big fan. You know, he was so excited to meet us. And then she had a little baby. He was maybe a year old, like if that. And she was like, "Oh yeah, his name's Jayden. We named him after you." I was like, what? Are you kidding me? You named him after my character on Power Rangers? Like, that touched my heart beyond anything else. It was crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was the cutest little kid, too. It was awesome.
That's neat. That's neat. I like that. So, anything you want to say to the crowd?
Love you guys. You're awesome. Go Power Rangers! Woo!
All right, everybody. See you there at Ranger Stop. Enjoy. Have a wonderful evening. Alex Heartman, ladies and gentlemen.